The Jets have answered a lot of questions over the past week. By now, we know who will fill their holes at running back, Le'Veon Bell, slot receiver, Jamison Crowder, slot cornerback, Brian Poole, and a few other spots. But General Manager Mike Maccagnan's work isn't done. There are still questions to be answered. There are still holes to fill, both via free agency and in the 2019 NFL Draft. Jets' Le'Veon Bell expects some rust in 2019, but here's why sitting out last season doesn't bother him at all. The New York Jets' new running back, former Pittsburgh Steeler Le'Veon Bell, will be a big addition for them. This week's Mailbag takes a look at might be ahead for Maccagnan and the Jets. Ira from Staten Island via email, for the price, Bell was a no-brainer. He's the Jets' best skill player since Curtis Martin. Special teams took a hit losing Andre Roberts and Jason Myers, but after bringing in 3 big-ticket players, that's no surprise. Now the focus has to be on the nickel and no. 2 cornerbacks. Thoughts? Well, Ira, you're in luck because the Jets already solved half of your problem on Thursday night, when they inked Poole to fill the slot role. But yes, they do still need to figure out their plan for the second outside cornerback spot. Currently, it looks like Darron Roberts might be the man to fill that hole, though his deal, which is effectively a 1-year deal for $4 million, doesn't look like a true starter's contract. Maybe Maccagnan is just trying to ball on a budget at that spot, or maybe the next move is still in the works. Perhaps the Jets could target a corner with one of their third-round selection to try to fill that hole. Money. The Jets got Roberts for just a touch over $1 million in 2018, but after becoming a Pro Bowl and first-team All-Pro selection, there's no doubt he was going to be looking for more than that this season. Ultimately, the Jets just decided they'd rather spend their money elsewhere on the roster. The same goes for kicker Jason Myers. Unless the Jets go out and snag John Sullivan or Stefan Wisniewski as a Band-Aid center for 1 year, it sure looks like Harrison could be the guy. Or there's always the draft pick option. Though sticking a mid-round pick into the middle of the offensive line as a rookie could be very risky. As things stand right now, Harrison is certainly the leader in the clubhouse to start. He caught your eye at the end of last season, perhaps he caught Maccagnan's, too. The Jets have drafted running backs in each of the past 2 seasons and have plenty of other holes on their roster right now. Is it possible they draft a back? I suppose, but that would be a pretty bad look for Maccagnan, if he does do it. If you're still looking for a secondary back, then what the heck was the point of drafting Eli McGuire and Trenton Cannon? Thanks to the 49ers trading for Dee Ford, the Jets' chances of having at least one of Bosa or Allen to choose from hit no. 3 overall seems better than ever. There haven't been many rumblings on the Houston front, at least of yet, so at this point, the Jets may be waiting to address their edge rusher situation in the draft. But free agent talks still have time to heat up, obviously. You're right that the Jets would be nuts to take an offensive lineman or cornerback at no. 3. That pick should be used on an edge rusher or Alabama defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, if the Jets stick in that spot. But trading back remains a viable option precisely because it'd help the Jets pull in some more picks and fill some of those holes that you mentioned. Obviously, whether that deal ends up being worth doing is dependent on what teams are willing to offer. But if the Jets can move back a handful of spots to still address the edge, then also use their new second-round pick, for example, on an offensive lineman, that could be a big win for Maccagnan. As we just said, the theory behind trading back remains solid. But this is a good philosophical question for fans: do you trust Maccagnan to get those picks right? It may be enticing to pick up extra picks in the hopes of striking gold, but is it really worth passing up a seemingly sure thing in Allen, Bosa or Williams to take that risk? If I was the GM, I'd probably play it safe, but I certainly understand the benefits of both calls. And there's a reason no one's paying me to make those calls. Probably not, no. The Jets coaching staff doesn't like the fit of Lee on the outside in the system they intend to employ. So with CJ Mosley entering the fold and Avery Williams seen locked in for 2019 because of his contract, that could be an issue for Lee. Maybe they find a way to use all three of those guys in the middle with some sort of rotation, but three as a crowd. The Bell ripple effect should help everyone. Both Quincy Enunwa and Robbie Anderson should certainly be more effective now that the Jets have a legitimate threat in the run game. Plus, when the Jets do air it out, the defense will have to respect Bell as a target, which spreads the field for those receivers, too. The addition of Jamison Crowder takes some of the pressure off both the top guys as well. Whether or not Enunwa and Anderson will actually catch more passes in this more well-rounded offense remains to be seen, but they should at least be more effective when they are targeted. No, that one's tough to see. Powell has helped the Jets a bunch through the years, but re-signing a 30-year-old running back who's coming off a serious neck injury isn't worth it. That money could be better spent elsewhere. The Jets should use McGuire and/or Cannon, or perhaps a cheap new addition, to help take up those snaps. Matt Stypulkowski may be reached at mstypulkowski@newadvancemedia.com. Follow him on Twitter at m_Stypulkowski. Find NJ.com Jets on Facebook.